Hi, everybody. I want to welcome you to the second Jane Addams Virtual Branch webinar. Tonight, we're going to talk about attracting members using social media. We want to thank AAUW Illinois for giving us a leg up grant that will allow us to present these webinars for free and continue to do this over the next year. We would like you to use the chat window for questions and hold your questions to the end. And I would like to talk a little bit about our presenter on Facebook, Elaine Matthews, a very talented individual. She is an AAUW member of Jane Addams Virtual Branch and Naperville. She is a branch program VP and current co-president at Naperville AAUW branch. Elaine is a retired educator and a volunteer leader trainer. Let's give Elaine a warm welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Cynthia. One day I'll meet your friend Elaine Matthew that you introduced me as. Anyway, I'm here in Naperville and it's nice and crisp outside, so I'm happy to be indoors talking with everyone about social media. And tonight we're going to specifically look at Facebook as a tool to promote AAUW and attract new people to join AAUW. So on the slide, you see the things that I'm going to present tonight. We'll begin by talking about what will be your definition of success and define your purpose of your Facebook page. We'll go through some examples of good practices. We'll talk about how to increase traffic on your Facebook page and how to increase engagement. And lastly, we'll look at insights or statistics of the Facebook page activity. Now here you have a photo from our Naperville branch Facebook page. And what you want to do, some of the things you could have as your purpose, is to increase public recognition of your branch beyond your members, beyond the people that normally attend your events, and increase your exposure to diverse groups. You can use Facebook pages to manage your press coverage by posting to newspaper Facebook pages, and you might have a city Facebook page that you can like and post to. For example, there's a What's Happening in Naperville page, and there might be a page for a parents group or a moms group that you want to post your information to. The third purpose might be driving traffic of new people to your website, because on your website you should have more detailed information, and you have your membership page which explains how to join your branch. Social media is a way of reaching new, diverse, and younger people. And the further you can expand your friends network on Facebook, the more various groups you're going to reach. And you can promote your events and programs. However, here's a caution. You should not just think, oh, I'll post the program once a month and no one, and I don't have to do anything else. If you only post that little, no one will bother following you because it's not interesting. It's recommended that you post at least twice a week if possible. Now here is a chart that shows, I did this in July last year, that shows the age groups of the Facebook users around Naperville. And so I think I got this when we were looking at maybe doing an advertisement, a promotion on Facebook. So you see that the largest group at that time was the 35-year-old to 44-year-old, and the second largest was 45 to 54 years old. But the third largest group, 20%, is ages 25 to 34. So those three big groups are groups that you probably want to target for new members in your branch. When you think about your branch, do you know what the average age of your branch members are? In my branch, we definitely can use more people in the 45 to 54 category, and definitely in the 25 to 34 category, as well as 35 to 44. So all three groups would be attractive for my branch membership. And why do you want to be on Facebook? Facebook is the biggest social media network of all the social media. It has the largest number of users. So if you're just starting out in social media, my advice is do Facebook first. Now, when you look at your Facebook page, here are some things you want to think about. Be sure you use the current AAUW logo. And you want to use branding in photos. Like in the photos here, you see the Lobby Day t-shirts with the AAUW logo on it. But you could use banners, you could use ERA Now pins, you could use stickers, you could use a poster, or if you marched on Equal Pay Day, you might have a placard that you're holding up. Any of those things could show who you are and what you stand for. In addition to your branch programs, you want to focus on public policy issues, because National has done research in surveying new members, and one of the driving factors in joining currently is the mission of AAUW. Remember to be nonpartisan, no political endorsements. And the first step is obviously asking your branch members that are on Facebook to like your page. That's the beginning of your visibility network using Facebook. So let's review some good practices. You may be thinking, where on earth can I find enough photos that are branded that I can post twice a week? Well, here's one answer. AAUW National Facebook page has a lot of photos and graphics that they've created that you can use on your Facebook pages. You want to try and use a photo with as many posts as possible, because if a person is just looking at the news feed and it's just text, they skim right over yours. If you have an interesting picture, they'll stop and read what it's about. You can also find photos on the AAUW Illinois Facebook page. Now here is another way of posting relevant information. This is from the Women's Bar Association of Illinois, and it's about the possibility that Illinois might ratify the Equal Rights Amendment, and the Women's Bar Association has taken a stand supporting it. So I shared this post on my branch's Facebook page. So when you find things that are compatible with our mission, you can share them, and then you need to ask your members that have liked your page to share the posts that they get from your branch page. If they don't share the posts, then none of their friends see that. Only they see it because they've liked your page. Then once they have made their friends aware of your branch and your activities, they can also ask their Facebook friends to like your page. So if they're concerned about women's rights or women's issues, encourage them to send a message to their friends to like your branch page. Your goal is to continue expanding and building your network of friends, because that is the way you're getting the word out to new people. It's like a giant spider web. One ring connects to the next ring to the next ring. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you want to drive traffic from Facebook to your website or to AAUW Illinois or National's website. This image is from National AAUW, and it gives information about the statement related to Title IX. So if people are interested in, concerned about sexual harassment, or concerned about the government action or inaction on Title IX, they would be interested in getting more information or reading this article. You also want to make it easy the other way around. If someone comes to your web page, you want to make an easy link to send them to your Facebook page. So here's the Naperville branch homepage, and we have the follow us on Facebook icon, the little blue box, and then in the lower right we have a link to our Facebook page. Now, of course, all of us have a lot of things to do. So you may have some members who never get around to liking your page, but you know that they're on Facebook because they probably talk about their grandkids doing something and posting pictures of something that they did. So you can use Facebook's search function using their name or their email address to find those people, and then you can send them an invitation to join, to like your page. When they get the invitation, then it's really easy to like your page. So again, your goal is to keep increasing the number of likes for your page. This is also the number of followers. And each follower has a group of friends who will see your posts if the member either likes your post, shares your post, or makes a comment on your post. They have to take some action in order to move that information in that post into the outer circle of their friends, friends of your members. Now, another good practice is I would advise having a team to post items on your Facebook page. And I myself am kind of a control freak, and I was worried about things that would be inappropriate. Somebody might comment on our page. And so initially I was doing it myself. Then I was going to take a vacation, and I thought, uh-oh, I probably need another admin. So I asked another person if they would fill in while I was gone. And so now we have two admins, and we have also an editor or two. Now the editor role, they can post items to your page, but they can't change the general settings or the roles that people play or the way the page is set up or described. This role of editor could be valuable for someone like who's going to a tech savvy event or the used book sale, or perhaps your public policy chair or program VP. You could have different people posting different types of things. They also can respond to or delete comments. So then you have more eyes watching, if something, negative or abusive gets posted, you can take it down right away. So you want enough people to monitor and post so that your page is active and high quality. And remember, this is social media. And to millennials, they consider this like conversation. So liking a post or making a comment on and getting a reply is kind of what they expect. There should be some back and forth. Another good practice is to find Facebook pages that are compatible with our mission, like the League of Women Voters, and this image is Working Women. The Public Library might be another one, ACLU, United Nations Women, Mighty Girl, Women in the Media, or Now. And if you like these pages as your branch admin, then you will get all of their posts in your news feed. So then you can decide if it's something that your members would be interested in knowing. So you don't have to do research every week to look for information that might be something you could post. You have a variety of groups that are posting things, and you can just go through those and see if there's 2 or 3 that you think are worthwhile sharing. So this can be a time saver. It's a little work up front, but in the ongoing maintenance, it's a good thing. And when you have liked a page, you may be able to post a comment about one of your programs on their page. So then you're appealing to their network, and you'll get new people, new viewers that come to your page. Also, for the same reason, you want to post on high traffic pages. For example, I post the information about our programs, our monthly meetings, on the 2 newspaper Facebook pages and on the What's Happening in Naperville page. Now, you want to increase traffic on your Facebook page, and one of the key ways is something that I've been mentioning is having high quality posts. You want good information. You want to quote, you don't want to quote any fake news type stuff. You want to know who the organization is and, something about them before you start sharing what they have posted. So check things out and make sure what you're putting online on your Facebook page is factual and good content, interesting information, and then you will draw more followers. And if you're posting regularly, people will be impressed and follow you to not miss things. They might discover you on the What's Happening in Naperville page, and then they decide to follow you, and they see what kinds of things you post, and then they stay with you if they like the information you're sharing. Now, the other thing, you want to tell what results are expected For example, today, if you want to post something, you could say, call your senator about the movement to override the governor's veto on doing away with requiring salary history. So you want to be clear about the facts and what you would like them to do. And sometimes you may give a link in your post that gives more information. Now you can check Facebook viewer activity, who was on your page and when they were on your page. The other thing you can also do is, once you know that information of when the most people come to your page, you can schedule Facebook posts for a particular day and time. Now that could be valuable when you're going to be away for 2 or 3 days or something, or just to post things when the majority of your viewers are online. And Facebook, the one kind of negative thing about Facebook, well, it's good and bad. You always have new things. They're always developing new things. And so you need to be prepared for kind of a lot of changes from time to time. So I've circled in the upper image the help word at the top. That little arrow will get you to the help menu. And the second image shows you they have a very detailed step-by-step, how do I schedule a post and manage scheduled posts for my page. So whatever you're trying to do, they will have a very nice help page for that. Now, another way to increase engagement, we mentioned find and post interesting high-quality content. You also want to post photos or videos. And when you post photos, tag people in the photos if you can. And those would be people that are on Facebook. Once you start typing their name, it should pop up. And when you tag someone, then they get a notice that you've posted a picture with them in, that they've been tagged in. And so then they're probably going to share it with their friends. But the advantage of posting videos is generally, if it's of interest, people will click on it. And that's one of the ways that viewers engage with your content, whether they follow a link or whether they click on a video, whether they make a comment in response to your post. All of those things are engagement. You can just pose a question and ask for responses. You can use one of these quiz type things or a puzzle and ask people to share, what was their quiz score. Kind of a fun thing, but it's an engaging thing. Some of them you won't want to use, but some of them are kind of interesting. Now, another tip that can save you a lot of time is Hootsuite. And I've given you the web address here on the top. There's a page on the national website that explains this process. But basically, you are establishing a link between your Facebook page and National AAUW's Facebook page. So it's a connection that when National AAUW posts something, it automatically comes to your Facebook page, and you already know that it's worthwhile content for our members, and it saves you time, and it's a regular way of having posts come to your page. But it certainly doesn't take the burden off of you. It can take a little pressure off of you as administrator, but you still want to post local programs and perhaps links to something that the local League of Women Voters is doing that maybe your members want to participate in. So you really want to have a combination of a variety of things. And you go to Hootsuite, sign up for a free account, and follow the instructions on the national website page. Now, another way of advocating action is by sharing a little bit of information and providing a link to get more information. You've got a couple examples from the Illinois AAUW page on the left that you could share in a post on Facebook. And on the right, you have the automatic post from National. You have the introductory information and information about an international fellow, and then a link to read more about it, which probably takes you to the national webpage, which has a whole article about the recipient, the AAUW International Fellow. Now there's data called Facebook Insights that is free and available for your use, and the admin will get every week a report of this type of information. The actions on the page, the number of page likes, the number of page views, and then the number reached. So you can see that the number of views was 36, but the number reached was 100. So you're reaching beyond the first group of people who came to your page by them sharing or liking your information. And you want to see that multiplication of effort. And then post engagement down in the lower left. And if you have some videos, it reports on that. And a page followers. So during this week, we gained 2 new likes and 2 followers. Generally, it's at the same time. When they like your page, they become a follower. So you get this each week. And you can look at an evaluation of your 5 most recent posts. And you can see the reach, the number of people that it reached, and then the next column is the engagement. If they clicked on it or shared it or, played a video. And then on the far right, you have a blue box that says boost post. This is kind of like advertising, and you pay for that, but you can limit the amount of money. We have not done that very much, but that is available. But I think it's interesting to post a few things, and then a few days later, maybe the end of the week, you look at how well your posts did, and then you can see what kinds of things were more successful and maybe do more of those things. You can also get information about the people, their gender, their location, and language. And this is based on what they enter in their profile on Facebook. So it might not be totally statistically accurate, but it's what Facebook has. Now here's an example of the people that liked our page. You see 94% are women, 5% are men. The majority are in the 65 plus age group, but the next highest is 45 to 54. So that's pretty good, 18%. So I think we're attracting people that are not members, that are younger, and they are following our page. So hopefully they will consider joining our activities. And 55 to 64, that's, the next group, 17%. And you can see they tell you how many in each country, the city. So we've got Naperville, Chicago, Aurora, Downers Grove, and the different languages. So it's kind of interesting to take a look at that as well. And then you can look at clicking on Insights and Posts. It shows you when your fans are online, when your followers are on your page. And if you look at the very bottom, I put a yellow box over this. The time of day is down here at the bottom. And you see there's a peak right here, which is 9 a.m. And then there's kind of a peak here between 4, 5, and 6 p.m. And then the highest number was at 9 p.m. So I can tell that if I want to reach the majority of people currently on my page, I should post something in the evening, and I will get a large group of people seeing that kind of at the top of their feed. Now, if you look up above that chart, there's the number of people by day. And you can see the largest number, 180, is on Sunday. The next largest is 172 on Saturday. So I can tell by that I should be oh, wait a minute. The next largest is Thursday, 175. And then Saturday with 172 and Wednesday with 170. So they're kind of close to each other. So, but definitely I would want to post something before the weekend, because Sundays are the busiest day according to this record of data for the last week. So again, you want to keep looking at it. Different weeks are different, and in the summer it's less. People are busy outdoors and stuff. So you have to take into account holidays and things. And then the last thing I wanted to make a quick mention of is there are some general references on the national website that really go through a lot of social media information. 101 and 201, I would encourage you to take a look at that. And now we're going to turn to Twitter and Kate Skagg. Kate created this lovely picture with a frame around it, and maybe she'll have time to talk about that, but I thought I'd put it up there. And she's also a member of the Jane Addams branch as well as the Downers Grove branch. She is currently the Illinois AAUW social media manager, and she was an early adopter on Twitter. She's been on Twitter for 10 years, and she's a former member of the National Strategic Communications Task Force, which was looking at the advantages of social media. So take it away, Kate. I'm going to transfer to you.
Okay. Well, I understand I'm going to show my screen any moment. Right. I think we're about to rock and roll. Okay. My portion of the webinar tonight is about attracting members using Twitter. And just as Elaine discussed, that you should really think about why you're using social media, what you want to do with it, who you want to target. I wrote down some reasons why you might be using Twitter. To raise your organization's profile, you want to put yourself out there. Maybe you want to be helpful and share useful information. Certainly that's something that we do. We want to share useful information like our book sale, for example. That's very popular information. Maybe we want to keep our members engaged and informed, and particularly non-members informed. We want to drive people to our website because that's a mine of information and we like to keep that up to date. Twitter is particularly good for advocacy. We can use it to spread information and to ask people to take action. We could tweet at politicians and ask influencers to tweet our message. But remember that if we're tweeting on behalf of an AUW entity, to be non-partisan. If we're tweeting for ourselves, that might be different. I thought you might be interested to know some Twitter demographics. I love to do research online, so one of my favorite websites for researching social media demographics is pewinternet.org, and these are very up-to-date demographics from 2017. 68% of all US adults are Facebook users, but only 21% use Twitter. But the people who use Twitter are there fairly regularly, and they tend to be in the younger age group. So 36% of online adults ages 18 to 29 are on Twitter. I say online adults because remember there's always a few percent who may not be online at all. And they are more than triple the number of adults ages 65 and older. There's only a very, very small number of older adults on Twitter, only 10%. But we want to attract those younger members, so Twitter's quite a good place to be. And Twitter is also somewhat more popular amongst the highly educated. So 29% of internet users with college degrees use Twitter, compared with 20% of those who stopped their education after high school. And you're all very aware of Twitter through news broadcasts these days, because this year, in 2017, 2/3 of US adults get their news from social media. And the growth is particularly marked among older, less educated, and non-white Americans. With a president who frequently makes announcements on Twitter, the share of users who get their news there on Twitter has increased quite a lot. It's up to 74%, which is up 15% from last year, according to Pew Research. And it's up a lot from the year before. Well, if you're interested in getting started on Twitter, because I suspect most of you aren't on Twitter, and you might have thought about it, it's very easy, but it does require your real name and your real email address. Well, that's certainly recommended, and a password. You just go to twitter.com and the home page, and you click on register, and you can actually use a phone number instead of an email address. But eventually they'll ask for your phone number anyway, if I recall, because they like to have another means of contacting you in case, as a backup, or if they need to send you a code to change your password, for example. And your username will be your URL. Your URL, so that have something as short as possible would be a good idea. And I suggest avoiding numbers in your username because it's simpler to type. And if your actual name is available as a username, grab it quickly, because there are so many millions of people out there on Twitter. There's not many choices left for usernames. So some people end up having to use underscores and other ways of making up their usernames, and it looks rather desperate. And remember that a lot of people access Twitter using their cell phone, and having an awkward username really does make it difficult to type. When you get started, you have, I believe, 160 characters to write a professional bio. That's not very much. So you just say something very short and sweet about yourself and upload a photo, preferably a real photo of you or your organization's logo. And then you're ready to go. You can introduce yourself with your first tweet. And find the right people to follow. Well, who are you going to follow? Who do you think I'm going to recommend? Well, connect with AUW. AUW National has several Twitter accounts, and here are most of the ones at National Office. AUW is the main one. AUW Fellowships for grants and scholarships. AUW Policy, that's public policy. AUW Campus for programs for students on campus, and Action Fund. And then there's our local ones I want you to follow. There's AUW IL for AUW Illinois and AUW Jane Addams. I have a feeling you might ask me why it's in lowercase, the AUW there. In actual fact, it shouldn't make any difference whether it's in upper or lowercase. I remember when it's in a URL, it's certainly all in lowercase, so why should it make any difference? I'm thinking of changing it. I can change it through this settings icon on the home page. Maybe it would be easier to read if I changed it to uppercase. That's something that's on my mind. Well, if you do get started with Twitter, you'll have to learn some words about Twitter, some Twitter lingo, because you will come across them. And they'll be useful whether you're going to be tweeting or not. Because even though I say you should be tweeting, I know that quite a lot of people sign up for Twitter just to lurk. Just the same way some people sign up onto Facebook just to lurk. So there you go. Let's be honest what goes on. Well, what is a tweet? I'm sure most of you know it's a short message, and it's just 140 characters. It's not much. And those characters include the spaces. A retweet is the same in many ways as sharing on Facebook. So it's the easiest way to get started on Twitter, just by retweeting somebody else's tweet. And it doesn't actually matter if a large proportion of your tweets are retweets, because that's still useful. And an abbreviation for retweet is RT. Your feed is the stream of tweets from people you follow that you see on your home page. Very much like the stream of Facebook posts that you see on your Facebook. I'm sure probably all of you are on Facebook, so you know what I mean. So it's helpful if you follow plenty of accounts on Twitter that you're interested in. Your handle is your username. You can just say username if you prefer, but you'll often hear people use the word handle, and you'll say, what do they mean? And remember anyway that your username usually has the @ icon in front of it. So my personal Twitter account is @Skeggy. So Skeggy is quite short, and remember I've had that for 10 years now. So I was one of the first women in Chicago to go onto Twitter. I'm not a prolific tweeter, but I have been there for a long time. A direct message is a private message between two people. I think you can actually, it may actually that you can write a longer message than 140 characters. I'm not quite sure if that's correct. I need to double check that. But the user must be following you for you to message them, which can be a bit frustrating if you want to send someone a message. Now, there is a number one Twitter mistake, which I have tripped up with myself, and it's very easy to trip up with. It's not necessary that you need to know as a complete beginner, but it is confusing. And if you ever do get an account, you will come across this issue. It's the difference between a reply versus a mention. A mention is when you reference another account in a tweet by using their handle, their @username, anywhere in the tweet. But a mention is when you reference them in the middle or at the end of the tweet. A reply is when you begin your tweet, begin your message with the @username at the beginning. And Twitter treats it completely differently. It's a direct reply to the other user. But unlike a direct message, which is private, it's public. It appears on your timeline and the other person's timeline. However, it's only public to the people following both of you. So it's not public out there to the world. And possibly you meant the statement, the tweet, to go out there public to the world, and you didn't realize it. Because you often just say, you might have said @AAUW and put it at the beginning of the tweet, and you meant it to go out there to everybody in general, but don't put it at the beginning. Though there is actually a little trick to make sure it doesn't go out quite at the beginning. You just put a period right at the beginning before the @AAUW. So then the @AAUW isn't really right at the beginning. The period is, and that means that it's just a mention. And the person or the organization that is mentioned in the tweet gets a notification that they've had a mention, and it will show up in their notifications, and they think, oh good, I've been thought about, someone's noticed what I'm doing, and they can pay attention to this, they can respond. So that makes them feel like they're having a conversation. That's what Twitter and social media in general, including Facebook, is all about. It's basically a conversation. Well, something else that is useful when you're planning social media, particularly for your organization, is when you're really organized, is to set up a social media calendar. And with AAUW branches in particular in mind, we think of feminist holidays and historical anniversary and AAUW events. So certainly, like when we're planning our mission-based programming, have you noticed how we think about Women's History Month, for example? Well, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So you might think, oh, I will post this month about domestic violence. Well, there's a hashtag for that. We're going to get up to hashtags shortly. And the hashtag is hashtag DVAM. So if you ever see DVAM, that's what it stands for. Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And AUW National website has very kindly set up a Google Calendar for us that we can subscribe to. If you go to this link, and here on my slideshow, it should actually be a live link. If you go to that page, you can actually sign up for their AUW campus calendar. It won't have everything in maybe that you'd put in, but you can put in some more. If you've got a Google account, you can sign in. It'll add their events to your own Google Calendar. So that's a good idea. Here's some Twitter tips. Some of them are very similar to Facebook post tips. Tweets with links receive 86% higher retweet rates. That's a lot. And tweets with images have double the engagement rate. This is very similar to making Facebook posts. If you've got links and images, you get more engagement. Now, what about hashtags? I'm going to say more about hashtags, but some people put too many. You only need one or two. They've done research on this. You only need one or two and you'll get 21% higher engagement. 3 or more, you get a drop of engagement. It's better to have some hashtags than none, but only 1 or 2. And again, sometimes on Facebook, you ask people to share a post. When you're on Twitter and you're tweeting and you ask to retweet, the retweet rate can be as high as 23 times. But if you ask people to RT, which is the shortened word for retweet, you only get a retweet rate of 10 times. Well, the thing is, people say RT because they're running out of characters. That's why. Because 140 characters is so few. Anyway, hashtags are your friends. So I've just put in a few that AUW might be using. They're very useful. Don't make up hashtags because nobody are following them. These are like keywords that people are tracking. So don't make them up. I find that a lot of people, even millennials, or in particular millennials, really don't understand what hashtags are. And they make them up and they put lots of them on a post and they think that makes their post more important. This is not the case at all. So here are some that are really relevant to us as AUW members. ERA Now, Women's March, It's My Vote, STEM, Stand Up to Sexism, that is an AUW movement that they have a whole page about that they've been working on this year. Equal Pay Day, Title IX. Now, this one has created quite a sensation recently. Me Too. So this is actually a trending hashtag. When you log into Twitter, there's usually a set of trending hashtags. And I'm sure you'll find that Me Too is a trending one right now. You'll probably come up with some more. The only times you really need to come up with new ones is maybe when your organization is having a new event and you want your attendees to tweet about the event. Maybe your organization should have its own special hashtag for its organization. But I wouldn't make up new hashtags without searching to see who's already using them. So if you want to use a hashtag and you've never used it before, check it out. There's a search bar at twitter.com and you can put the hashtag in and see how it's going. In fact, I recommend using the search bar on twitter.com a lot. You can use it for words in the news, for example. Now, Elaine talked a lot about analytics. You can use social media without ever looking up your analytics if you don't want to look them up. So, and a lot of people never look them up. But there are some free resources. There are free resources on Twitter itself. And there's a website called Twiriad.com. That's really hard to say. It's a free Twitter tool that helps you make the most of Twitter by letting you know the best time to tweet. So I signed up for Twiriad because AUW National recommended it on one of their social media webinars. And I discovered that my followers for my Skeggy account are mostly online between 2 and 11 p.m. So that was interesting. So if I want to have them see my tweets, I should tweet between 2 and 11 p.m. Anyway, when you look at your free analytics, you can see which posts get the best engagement. So you might discover that you have a particular style of post that has high engagement. You'll probably find it's a type of post with a link and a photograph, just like we've already said, that tweets with links and images get the best engagement. There may be some hot topics, or there may be times of the day or days of the week with higher engagement. Another important thing to say is the ideal length of a tweet. We mentioned that the maximum length of a tweet is 140 characters, but in actual fact, the tweets with the most retweets are less than 100 characters, and that is really short. If they go over 100 characters, they're less likely to be retweeted. And maybe that's because when you retweet a post, you might want to add to it with a little bit of your own comment. So you want to leave a bit of space. Leave 40 characters left for the person retweeting to say something else. Now, at our first webinar, AJ Conroy said, we could tweet like the first portion of the Equal Rights Amendment. She says it's very short. Equality of rights under the law shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. So I counted it. It's 120 characters. Okay, actually it's still pretty short. So I tweeted it. And I made sure to find an image. I haven't gone back to see how well it did, but I'll tell you one day. Here is some Twitter limits. Yes, there you go. 140 characters. And there you are. I said direct messages and I've said 10,000 characters. So I've got conflicting information in the same slideshow. Your maximum Twitter handle is 15 characters. And your profile name is 20 characters. Well, the point is you want your Twitter handle to be as short as possible because you're going to be using up characters. So Twitter made some changes over the years and handles at the beginning of a reply don't count towards your 140 characters. And remember, the beginning of a reply, that was a direct reply. And images don't count towards your 140 characters. So that makes images very, very valuable. I threw these in because further reading, because I wanted to give a shout out for my favorite source of social media information. It's nonprofit Tech for Good. It's run by a woman called Heather Mansfield, and she literally is a one person organization, and she runs free webinars on social media, and I absolutely love them. I think this is the last year she'll be running them because she's had a sponsor to run free social medias. Her website's called Nonprofit Tech for Good. There are a lot of other good social media websites out there. I just put one of them in. It's the blog for the Buffer app, and Buffer is one of the apps that you can use for scheduling your tweets so that you can tweet while you're asleep. To be honest, I don't schedule my tweets because even scheduling tweets is quite a lot of work. I just love this phrase, your vibe attracts your tribe. I interpret that to mean that social media is about finding your tribe of like-minded women. And it means you have to remember to put your social media out there. Remember to put your Facebook information and your Twitter information out on all your online and your offline materials. And make sure that you put out the information, the type of information that the women that you're looking for want to know. Right, I have got some homework for you. On November the 2nd, AUW National is setting up a Latina Equal Pay Twitter storm. What's a Twitter storm, you might say? Well, they want as many people as possible to tweet for Latina Equal Pay Day. Latina Equal Pay Day on November the 2nd. This is a sad state of affairs. This is the day Latina women reach the amount of pay that a white man has earned the previous year in 2016. It takes them all the way up to November the 2nd of 2017 to earn a year's worth of pay for a white man for 2016. So if you click on that link, it will take you, I was just thinking of take you to the actual page, because I think that was my last slide. Actually, no, it wasn't, but never mind, we'll get back to it. I think I was going to show you these sample tweets. They have given sample tweets. It makes it so easy for you. And they have given you images to share. What could be easier? It gets easier. I can tell you it gets easier. Because if you click on these sample tweets, what happens? It actually gives you the tweet. If you're already logged into your Twitter account, it's all ready to tweet. Look, I can click there and it'll tweet. That's all I've had to do. Click, click, and I can tweet. So between 2 and 3 Eastern time, or that's the equivalent of 1 and 2 Chicago time on November the 2nd, I can tweet like crazy and join their Twitter storm. And we can make this a Google, a Twitter trend, the Latina equal pay hashtag. We can make it a Twitter trend for an hour on November the 2nd. Now, the point is, maybe you won't have a Twitter account by November the 2nd, but you can still use these phrases and these images and put them on Facebook. They're there ready for you. And I think that was actually my last slide. So I am finished, and I think maybe Elaine has some more things to say.
Right. Do you want to switch back to me as a presenter?
I can switch back to Elaine, yes. I'm going to change the screen.
I'm not seeing any questions in the question box that haven't already been answered. So if you have a last minute question, type it in the chat box. But if you think of questions later on, you can email them to aauwjaneadams@gmail.com. And we wanted to do just a brief. Oh, I see a question. We have a question now. Is it true that you have to meet a threshold of followers on Facebook to be able to see insights? I don't believe so. Well, maybe it was 20. When I first started our Facebook page, we had, I think, 14 or 15 right away. And then when we started pressuring people, have you done it yet? Have you done it yet? We got up to 20 pretty quickly. And I probably was not looking at the insights until we had kind of progressed beyond the beginning phase. So I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that, but I'm sure in the Facebook help, it probably gives us the answer. But I think that from the beginning, I was getting the report of the activity by week. I could be mistaken, but it seems like I've been getting those forever. So if we have any further questions, type them in the box. We can come back to that. But we wanted to alert you, well, to mention that if you are not currently a member of AAUW, you can join the Jane Addams branch using the Shape the Future campaign, which gives a 50% discount on national dues, plus the state dues and the Jane Addams branch dues. So you could join for $39.50 if you are a new member to AAUW. And just go to our website, to our membership page. We have a document there that you can fill out and mail with a check to the address on the bottom of the form. And next webinar is going to be November 30th. We're excited. We have a very engaging young woman who wants to change the world and involve young women in local advocacy. Celeste is a George Washington University grad in political communication and a former White House aide during the Obama era. And she's ready to reform the Midwest politically and is currently working in communications at a healthcare organization. So she's going to be our presenter in November. We think it's going to be very interesting. So